What's going on, muscle monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and in this video I'm going to give you a 5-step fat loss formula. So whether you are someone who just has a few more pounds to lose to get absolutely shredded, or you are overweight and want to lose 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds, either way this is going to work for you. Now obviously it's going to take longer for you to lose 50 pounds than it is for you to lose 5, but ultimately the same formula will apply. So without further ado, let's jump right in. The first thing we want to do is find your maintenance, okay? Because once we find your maintenance, meaning the amount of calories that you need to maintain your current weight, then it's going to be a lot easier to create a deficit, and we need to be in a deficit if we're going to be losing fat. So there's a million ways to find your maintenance. So today I'm going to give you what I think is the simplest way. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your current body weight in pounds, you're going to multiply it by 16, and the number you get is your starting point. This isn't going to automatically be your maintenance or automatically put you in a deficit. In fact, this might create a surplus, but that doesn't really matter to us. What matters to us is that we have a starting point, okay? So use that starting point, and then what I want you to do is I want you to eat that number of calories for 2 weeks straight. Every single day, I want you to hit that calorie goal, okay? And I want you to weigh yourself every single morning. Now what you're gonna see is that your weight is either trending upward, staying the same, or maybe you're even losing weight. The way you're going to dictate where your weight is going is by measuring or comparing the averages that you get every week. So for example, on week 1, you're weighing yourself every day, and then at the end of the week, you get an average of all your weigh-ins. Do that for 2 weeks, and then compare week 2's average to week 1 and see what happened. If your weight stayed the same, then that means that that number of calories that you were consuming was actually your maintenance. In some cases, you might be in a surplus, and don't be afraid to gain a couple of pounds when you're doing this, because it's data that you're going to need that's going to serve you in the long term. So if, for example, you're in a surplus and you gain, say, a pound, then this means that we need to reduce our calorie intake a bit more than we would if we were at maintenance. Okay, that's all that means. So that brings me to the next step, which is creating a deficit. So once you have your maintenance, right? So say for example, you compared your two averages and maybe it wasn't your maintenance. Maybe you gained a little bit of weight. Well, we know that, that number of calories that you're consuming is enough to put you at a surplus. So that just simply means that if we reduce that calorie amount by about 500, that would most definitely put us in a deficit, or at least a lot closer to one. Or could be a big deficit, could be a small deficit. Either way, you're going to be in a deficit. And if you are at maintenance after you've reduced that 500 calories, that's fine too, because at least now we know your maintenance, and at least now we'll be able to continue utilizing this strategy to continue losing weight over the weeks. So step 1, find your maintenance. Even if it's not your maintenance, at least you have a good idea of how many calories you need to maintain. Then you're going to create a deficit. You're going to create a deficit by reducing the number of calories that you're consuming. If 16 times body weight was your maintenance, then we know, okay, we only have to reduce our calories by about 250, and that'll put us at a deficit. If 16 times body weight puts you at a surplus, then instead of 250, we'll reduce it by 500, and that should put you at a deficit. Okay, don't overcomplicate this. Don't overthink it. It's very basic stuff, and as soon as we start implementing this down here, all the weight is just going to keep coming off. The next thing we want to do, now that we have our calorie intake, is adjust your macros. Okay, because the goal is fat loss, not just weight loss. So if we're eating at a deficit, but for example, we're not getting enough protein, chances are we're going to lose muscle tissue. We're just going to lose weight and not necessarily maintain our muscle mass while we're cutting. What we want to do here is we want to take that number of calories that you're consuming and break it down into the appropriate macronutrient ratio. And this is going to be very simple. Number one, you're going to figure out how much protein you need. That's going to be 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you weigh 150 pounds, then you're going to consume 150 grams of protein per day. And each gram of protein consists of 4 calories. So do the math, and now you know how many calories out of your total calorie intake are going to come from protein. The next thing is fats. All right, we want to get at least 30% of our calories from fats. So if your calorie intake is 2,000 calories, then 30% of that 2,000 should come from fats. So you're going to say, okay, 30% of my calorie intake is, I don't know, let's say 600, right? Then you're going to divide 600 by 9, which is the number of calories per gram of fat. So now you've got the number of calories from protein and you've got the number of calories from fat. Add that up and then subtract that from your total calorie intake. Okay, I'm going to put the written description underneath this video, just in case you're not keeping up with the math in the video. That's completely fine. Just go there and you'll see the steps broken down for you. But once you have a remaining amount of calories, once you've done that simple formula, or you've subtracted your calories with from your protein and from your fats, from your total calories, you're going to have a certain amount left over. That's all going to be carbs. Now that you have your macros, we are going to simply track and adjust. Okay, so now you're going to be hitting your macros every single day, and every single morning you are going to weigh yourself. Okay, make sure it's under the same circumstances. So for example, it's after you pee and you're in your boxers. Do that every single morning, and then at the end of the week I want you to get an average, and you're going to keep doing this. And every week you're going to be able to compare your averages from this week to last week's. And what happens is, for a certain period of time, you're going to be losing weight. But eventually, you will stall. The number of calories you're consuming or were consuming last week may have been enough to put you at a deficit, but now that might be your new maintenance per se. To adjust, all you're going to do is one of two things. Number one, you are going to either decrease your calories by 250 in the form of carbs, or you are going to add 15 minutes of steady state or high intensity interval training. It doesn't matter which one you choose, because you're going to be continuously adjusting. Okay, personally, I prefer body weight circuits and treadmill hit, where I'm doing maybe 1 minute as fast as I can, and then 1 minute kind of just jogging, and then repeating that for 15 minutes. Or you can do, the body weight circuits that I've shared in the past, or you can just do 15 minutes of steady state cardio. It's completely up to you, but I want you to do one of those two things once you've stalled. What that's going to do is it's going to put you back into a deficit. And then lastly, you're just going to repeat step 4 until you've reached your desired outcome. It's really that simple. You're going to continue to hit your macros, track your body weight, and get those averages at the end of each week. And anytime you stall out, meaning you didn't lose any weight, you're going to make one of two choices. Number one, you're either going to decrease your calories by 250 in the form of carbs, or you're going to add 15 minutes of cardio to your week. Just to keep it simple, what I would recommend is alternating between the two. So the first time you stall, you might decrease your calories by 250. The next time you stall down the line, you'll add 15 minutes of cardio. When you stall after that, you'll decrease your calories again by 250. And when you stall after that, you'll increase your physical activity by adding another 15 minutes of cardio. if you can continue to do this, it doesn't matter if you need to lose 50 pounds or 5 pounds. Okay, you will reach your desired goal as long as you are tracking and adjusting. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, click the like button below. Do not forget to subscribe for more videos. The goal this year is to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers, and I need your help. If you have any questions in regard to this 5-step fat loss formula, leave them in the comment section, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.